Registered representatives offer securities through Securities America, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Financial advisors offer advisory services through Securities America Advisors, Inc. Forest Hills Financial, Inc. and Securities America are separate entities. This is the Keeping Your Money Show with Jamie Westenbarger and Bart Steindler.
Good morning. Welcome to Keeping Your Money Show. Jamie Westenbarger, joined as always by my esteemed colleague, Mr. Bart Steindler. Bart, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. It's another $1 million morning.
I just noticed you have actually two pairs of glasses in this room.
Those aren't mine.
Oh, they're not?
Nope.
How did we acquire a pair of glasses?
From somebody else. Let's see. Seems to be a name on them here.
If you have recently been on the radio show and are missing a pair of glasses, we have them in our studio.
Yes. They're Premier Trust on them.
All right.
And they are made in China.
All right. Well, there you go. If you're missing your reading glasses, we have them. This is the Keeping Your Money Show, where we cut through all the bulls, the booyahs, bells, whistles, honks, and horns to get you to the information that actually helps you move towards retirement. We got a great show on deck today. We're going to talk about why retirement planning is different from financial planning. So often those terms used interchangeably, and they definitely are not. We're going to give credit where credit's due in that a regulator, yes, a regulator, has done something that we think is a great idea. How New York's rules on life insurance should help all of us eventually with easier decisions.
On life insurance illustrations.
Right. 4 big mistakes you might make when hiring a financial advisor. We're going to help you steer through those. And rising rents for millennials give rise to the dumbest business idea I've heard of this week. And that is people who lend money to millennials for something you'll never believe they're lending it to them for. All that and more here on the Keeping Your Money Show. If you miss any part of the show, of course, you can always find it on our website. Go to keepingyourmoney.com. You can also find it on all of our podcast partners, iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, YouTube, and Stitcher. Just search for the Keeping Your Money Show. I want to remind everyone, if you don't know, our annual golf outing is coming up July 25th. So if you've not registered a team, or if you haven't registered to be a sponsor, or if you want to contribute to our silent auction, if you want to take place in our $1 million hole-in-one challenge, all of
Well, that sounds like a good one.
Wow, I choked on nothing.
I think that $1 million got you all choked up.
I said $1 million and I choked. But it's probably what I'll do when I try to win it too. But all that is available with awesome causes that the money's going to. It's going to both the I Understand organization and also Kids Food Basket. So we do encourage you to check that out. You can find more information on our website. Go to keepingyourmoney.com or give us a call. 888-98-MONEY is the number. That's 888-986-6639. We'd love to have you out. We've done it now, this is the 6th year?
Fifth or sixth year.
Yeah. We raised well over $100,000 over the years, and definitely looking exciting for another exciting year of it. So I saw this article in Forbes the other day, and I thought it really was a great topic to talk about. And the idea being that sometimes we think about financial planning and retirement planning, and we think those are kind of all-inclusive characterizations or titles of things. But something that we've talked about for many years is the idea that when you're actually planning for retirement, it's totally different than when you're just maybe planning for your overall financial picture. And one perfect example of that is if you look at someone who has gone and become a CFP, which the CFP organization does a phenomenal job of advertising that as being something that's really important. But a large portion of the CFP program actually deals with things like budgeting and managing your accounts and things of that nature. Well, for somebody who's 59 or 60 years old and approaching retirement, they're usually kind of beyond the basics of whether they need to budget or not. And retirement planning really just kind of takes a whole different approach to things than your basic financial planning does.
Yeah, so pre-retirement, it's I don't want to say it's easy because it's not necessarily easy, but it's simpler than post-retirement, because in pre-retirement planning, you're kind of setting yourself a goal and figuring out how much money you have to set aside and what categories you want to invest that in to get yourself to a certain goal. Okay.
Yep.
Post-retirement planning, you need to take a look at a lot more factors, and you need to figure out what am I going to need to live on, and then what am I going to want to have besides what I need? So there's, you're basically, maybe you need enough so that you can, cover all your household bills, cover your medical bills, cover your insurance and all that kind of stuff. But then you're not going to want to just sit home your entire retirement. You want to do some other things. You're going to want to go out with your friends. You're going to want to see grandkids or go fishing or whatever. So you have to figure out what your fund budget's going to be also. And then you have to figure in inflation. So it's a little bit more complicated figuring out what am I going to need to live on my first, several years of retirement, and then extrapolating that out to 25 or 30 years, including inflation, what am I going to need? And then you have to take the assets that you have and figure out how you're going to position those so that it's going to meet your income needs for a long term. So there's a lot more to it. It's a little more detailed and a little more complicated, and it's an entirely different skill set than getting you up to that point of retirement.
And I think what's really important when we talk about retirement planning is for an advisor to do proper retirement planning for you. They are going to be using software that you're not going to find out there yourselves. This isn't something where you can go on to some widget on a website and type in some numbers. I mean, it's pretty involved. It pulls real-time data from your investment accounts. It looks at your Social Security, pulling information from Social Security. There's a lot of cost to that. Financial advisors we spend tens of thousands of dollars on software that makes what we do for our clients accurate and more predictable and that type of thing. So there is a cost there. I think a lot of times people mistake that, all financial advisors do this. Right. No, they don't, because not all of them spend the money to have the programs, and also just the training involved to use the programs. Many of the programs, they always, the old adage is bad data in, bad data out. Well, if you don't know how to use the program, you can come up with pretty ridiculous things. I'll never forget the first time I ever used a financial planning program. I had the normal male tendency to not read the instructions and just try to figure it out. And I did an assessment for myself, just kind of seeing, and it said I would need $63 million over the course of my retirement to survive. And I thought, I don't think I'm spending that much.
You better get to work, buddy.
I think I may have either done something wrong or I'm never going to retire, one of the two. But, in retirement planning, to me, I'll tell you, this is an analogy I came up with, and you can tell me if you like it or not, Bart, because I literally just came up with it. It's like having, we always talk about the roadmap, right? So we always talk about driving somewhere. So we'll keep the car analogy going. Financial planning is knowing you need gas, and you go to the gas station and you put gas in your car, and it really doesn't take a lot of thought. If you have enough money in your account, you just basically fill it up. And when it's filled up, you stop filling it up, Well, you're probably, or you should be, maxing out your 401k. You're putting as much as they tell you can into it. And, you're probably picking some basic investments, and you realize you have 30 years to go. So you're just kind of doing it,
Yeah.
Retirement planning is now taking that car that has gas in it and figuring out where exactly can you drive that without running out of gas. How far can you go in that car before there's no gas left in the tank? So you have to figure your miles per gallon. You have to figure the route you're going to take. Will you be on the highway? Will you be on back roads? Will there be constructions and detours? It's a much more complex process than just pulling up to the gas station and putting in gas. So often we see people coming to us when they're kind of at that point where the tank is full and they know they're going to retire soon, but now what? Now what do I do? I don't know if there's enough in there. I don't know what my gas mileage is. I don't know where I'm going to go or how far I can go. And that's where we can now take and say, here's what the whole picture looks like. Here's what your income looks like. Here's what your Social Security looks like. Here's what your pension looks like. Here's what your healthcare costs are probably going to be. Here's how inflation is going to impact you, how market performance and probabilities are going to impact you, and really help to give someone the data points they need to be able to decide, do I retire now? Do I wait 2 years? Do I take Social Security at 62? Do I take it at 70? Do I take it at 67? All of those things where honestly, a lot of those decisions, once they're made, there's no going back. So you definitely want to make sure you're making the right ones.
That's right. And keep in mind, folks, this is going to be a period of time that can last 20, 25, 30 years. I know people who have been retired for 30 years. Mm-hmm. It does happen. And
it's going to happen more with longevity.
It's going to happen more. And guess what? When you're 30 years into retirement, you're still expected to pay your bills.
Well, you know what's interesting with that too, Bart? Not only is longevity increasing, but in the 20 years I've been in this business, I'm seeing more people want to retire earlier too.
Right.
Like we're more active today than we were 20 years ago. So there's this desire to be like, I want to travel more. I want to, and I also think where laborious jobs wear your body out, no doubt about it. Right. But a lot of people have very mentally taxing jobs too. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, with social media and email, and I think we're seeing a lot of people just kind of burn out earlier, where they're just done.
I think you see this a lot with larger corporations where they put a lot of stress on you, mm-hmm. and there's this mantra that I remember it as much as 10, 15 years ago that we have to do more with less.
Right.
Okay, so this year we're going to do more with less. Next year we're going to do more with less. You stretch that out over a 10-year period, and you're starting to, wear people's nerves a little bit thin. I mean, there's only so many times that somebody can leave the company and everybody else has to absorb their job.
Right.
And it gets to where when people are getting in their mid 50s and early 60s and saying, you know what, is like the one guy in the movie who sticks his head out the window and says, starts screaming, I can't take it anymore.
Right.
So.
Well, and I think then it starts to become too, there's the realistic idea that we're operating in a world where we might have to start planning for 40 or 45 years of retirement. We're going to actually start seeing people be retired longer than they worked, mm-hmm. pretty regularly. And that's something that I think we really have to wrap our mind around. If Social Security at the earliest starts at 62, and if we're seeing more people say, man, at 55, I just can't do this anymore. That's a stretch of time just to get to Social Security, and then beyond, retiring comfortably. Much more involved planning than just deciding which fund to put your contribution this week into.
Yeah, and it is doable.
Oh, absolutely.
If if the situations are right, it's not necessarily, we're not saying, you can't retire at 58 because you can't get Social Security until 62. There's ways of...
People do it all the time.
There's ways of structuring it, but it's more complicated than just, taking a percentage of your paycheck and putting it in the company plan and having it in the balanced or the time-dated fund.
Yep. So if you haven't done any retirement planning, I definitely encourage you to look into it, whether with us or someone else. Sit down with an independent financial advisor and really start to get a gauge on where you're at in the whole scheme of things. You can call us anytime to schedule an appointment. Toll-free number is 888-98-MONEY. That's 888-986-6639. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about a regulation that New York is rolling out in regards to insurance that could have a big impact on all of us going forward right here on the Keep Your Money Show.
There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to planning your future. Jamie, Bart, and all of the advisors at the Keeping Your Money Show understand that your financial goals are unique and your needs are going to change at varying stages of your life. Our team of advisors can help you tailor a financial plan that meets your unique needs. Call us today at 1-888-98-MONEY or visit keepingyourmoney.com to schedule your free initial consultation.